maybe I could learn these dance moves and the chicks will love it.
Oh, sube.
Mahalo, and welcome to episode 3 of the Mahalo podcast, brought to you live from New York City, here at the Dungeon Studios. I'm your host, Mark Jigarjian, as always, here bringing you the latest comedic thoughts and general observations. And today I want to start off with talking about the late 90s and early 2000s. Yep, getting your DeLoreans, folks. We're going back in time. Speaking of which, I watched Back to the Future 3 today. Not my favorite of the 3 movies. My least favorite of the 3 movies. Can never get into Back to the Future 3. I gave it another chance today, just cannot get into it. Back to the Future 1, by far the best. Back to the Future 2, second best. Back to the Future 3, not good, in my opinion. But that's not what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to dive into some late 90s, early 2000s. I'm talking, for me, middle school times. The awkward years, as we could call them. The awkward years. Middle school was an interesting time growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s. The internet was new. The internet was fresh. The internet was a whole new world. 1999, year 2000. What was on the radio? Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, LFO. I'm talking boy bands. Now, I was a secret boy band fan. My sister was a huge Backstreet Boys fan. She had the posters all around her room. And I was like, yeah, that's not cool. But secretly, I was like, dun, 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 dun. I was a big Backstreet Boys and NSYNC fan. But I kept it to myself for a lot of the years in the early days. Like, she was a fan 98, 99. And for me, I started to, really enjoy boy bands in, 7th grade. When I started to think, maybe I could learn these dance moves and the chicks will love it. Turned out not to be the case. Chicks weren't looking for a dancer, but I didn't know that at the time. But my idea was I would learn the moves and I would take them to my school dance, and then people would create a semicircle around me as I was doing the dance moves, and then the girls would be like, who was that guy doing the dance moves? And then I would dance with them, and we would kiss on the lips. Kiss on the lips was a big deal. In middle school, I don't even know if I got to the point of kissing the lips. Maybe in a truth or dare, spin the bottle type situation, but never just voluntarily. I remember 7th grade was also the year of bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs. I am not Jewish, but I did get invited to quite a few bar and bar mitzvahs to the point where I was kind of a critic of the bar and bar mitzvah. I remember going to some being like, they don't even have a theme at this one. Oh my God. Last week we went to one, it was Caribbean themed. This one, they just got hors d'oeuvres and we're going to do the hula. I even memorized some of the Torah speeches. Barahata hame, jomah hara hara, something like that. I went to a lot of bar and bar mitzvahs, and I really gave more credit to the themed bar mitzvahs than the non-themed ones. There was a Western one I went to. I remember the Caribbean one. It was a under the sea. Big appreciation for a themed bar mitzvah. So in my mind, if I learned the dance moves to these Backstreet Boys and NSYNC songs, not only can I take them to the school dance, they were also cross over into the bar and bar mitzvah. During those years, you had the school dances, but you also had these extra dances in the bar and bar mitzvah, which were they're like mini weddings. You didn't really bring a date to them, but your crush might be there. I remember during bar mitzvah season, I had a big crush on Grace. Her name was Grace. And I think we might have been middle school dating, which just meant, I like you. Do you like me? I like you. And then we'd walk home together sometimes. Do you want to be my girlfriend? Yeah, sure. Didn't really mean much. But during that time, I remember one of my first slow dances was with Grace at John's bar mitzvah. And I still remember dancing with her, and she was wearing this white, feathery, like really soft top. That's how implanted it was. And that was like one of my first kiss on the lips at that bar mitzvah. I digress. So how was I going to learn these moves? We don't have YouTube. I can't just YouTube it. I can't slow down. I can't just rewind the dance moves. I can't watch TRL every day for 9 months and just have a photographic memory. There was only one way to learn the dance moves in the late 90s, early 2000s. There was only one way, and that was Darren's Dance Grooves. Darren's Dance Grooves. For those of you who are too young, or those of you who don't know, Darren's Dance Grooves was an instructional VHS tape that was heavily marketed on MTV, right, during TRL and some of the shows at night. Do you want to learn the moves to It's Gonna Be May? Of course I do. And Darren would teach you for $17.99 plus shipping and handling. Darren would send you on his tape. He'd go through Britney Spears. You want to learn Christina Aguilera, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. You want to learn the moves? Darren's got your back. And I got the VHS tape. And the best part about that, it was like YouTube for the dance moves in the sense that you could rewind and fast forward, and you can go through and you could tape yourself and match it up with Darren. He would go slow motion through the moves so you could learn them. It was a big turning point in my dance career, let me tell you. Luckily for me, my mom finished our basement at my house, so I lived downstairs in the basement, which became my dance studio. Because I could hear the door when it would open upstairs, so I could shut down the dance operation if my mom or my sister came downstairs, so I wouldn't get embarrassed. So my little dance studio with Darren's Dance Grooves was downstairs. I had a TV VHS combo. What? I felt like the king of the castle. You remember the TVs that had the VHS that you could just slide right in there? Optimum convenience. Optimum. At the time when I got that, I thought that I could do anything in life. I could watch Die Hard, Wayne's World at a drop of a hat. Because before you had to connect your VCR to the TV. It blinked 12 o'clock for the entire time you owned it. No one ever changed the time on the VHS. I'm convinced of that. But then when they had the VHS TV combo, it was optimum convenience. So I had my Darren's Dance Grooves. I'm watching it slow-mo. I'm really sponging all the moves. Then, you guys know what I'm talking about. Backstreet Boys, Larger Than Life comes out. A month later, we have a dance coming. So I'm like, Larger Than Life is going to be my entry point into the dance community. I called up one of my friends, Mark. So Mark and Mark. And I'm like, let's learn Larger Than Life. Let's learn all the dance moves. Let's bring this to the dance. Let's bring this shit to the dance. So we did. He had a finished basement too. So we felt comfortable practicing in both spaces. We learned all the moves to Larger Than Life, and we even put some of our own moves in there. We even put some of our own stylings to it. We learned it, and the dance came, and our DJ for the dance was DJ Mr. Cohen, otherwise known as our history teacher. We went to DJ Mr. Cohen and we're like, hey, give us a one-song warning before Larger Than Life comes on, because we got a special treat we're going to drop in this cafeteria. Believe you me. DJ Mr. Cohen was like, I got you. And he did. He had us. Gave us a one-song warning. Me and Mark get ready. And I could just remember my blood is pumping, the hair standing up on my back of my neck. I'm nervous. Kelsey was there. Kelsey, she was a girl in middle school that looked like she was like 27. Okay? I'm 12 and I'm like, I can't believe that a girl like Kelsey is even in my middle school. It doesn't even make sense. She looks like she's postgraduate college. I'm like, Kelsey's gonna be watching, so don't screw it up. Ha ha ha. Oh my God. When that song came on, and it was like a hot song at the time too, Mark and I go right in front of DJ Mr. Cohen, and we're like locking the moves. We are in sync, but it's a Backstreet Boys song, but we're in sync. We're locking these moves. People are going freaking nuts. And then the ideal situation for a person who comes up with a dance who wants to showcase it in middle school, slowly people are like, we don't even need to dance on our own. Let's just watch these guys do it. And then a semicircle builds around us. The air is, I feel like I feel like one of the Backstreet Boys. I felt that cool. I'm nailing it. Kelsey's looking over like, who is this kid? I'm like, it's me, Jiggy. She didn't say that. She actually never talked to me. But in my mind, that's what was happening. I was crushing it. Song ends, and it leads to my first real dance with a girl. I'll never forget it. It was with Christine C. I had a big time crush on her, and she was in 8th grade when I was in 7th grade. And she slow danced with me after I danced to Larger Than Life. I felt like the king of the school. I felt like all the dance practice, all the Darren's dance grooves, it all led up to this moment. It was the pinnacle moment for me. The best. Larger Than Life, some may say. And then I fired up my purple iMac when I got home, fired that thing up. Now, I had an iMac computer that my mom got me because we used Macintosh computers at school. Now, for everyone listening, if you don't remember in 1999, 2000, 98, that era, Macintosh was not cool. Macintosh was definitely not the cool computer system to have. My friend Ben, Jer, they had PC computers, and during that time, what could you have? Napster, all the different games you could play, Roller Coaster Tycoon, any type of game was all on PC. If you wanted to download songs illegally, PC. You could do nothing with a Mac. The only game that I had was called Zood. And it was like the nerdiest game. You shot little faces and you tried to match the face. It was a terrible game. But my mom got a Macintosh because in school we all had Macintosh computers, going back to when I was like in 1st grade when we play the Oregon Trail and such. Or Number Munchers was a number game I remember. Number Munchers and Oregon Trail were all on Mac. So my mom got me a purple iMac like I was back in school. And it was not cool to have it. I get home after the dance, I fire up my purple iMac, and I jump right on AIM. AIM, for someone in 7th grade in the year 2000, that was my window to the world. That was a place where I could go and talk to everyone at once. I'd fire up all the screens, and I still remember people's screen names. My friend John, B-Ball John 9. My sister, Sunbather 87. My friend Ben, Owen, BJM. It's amazing how some of these screen names, they stick in your head. So I get home from the dance, I fire that thing on, and I'm firing off messages. Man, great dance. Thanks a lot. I worked really hard on it. The Larger Than Life dance was so popular that I got invited to Kelsey's birthday, and at Kelsey's birthday, in the basement of her house, I had to do the Larger Than Life dance again. It was a hit. I was like on tour. Apple computers did not make me cool, though, and I remember being very upset about having an Apple computer, and we only had one in the house. There was no laptops. We didn't have a laptop. We had one purple iMac. That was the only computer in the house. It was downstairs in the basement with me, but my sister would keep on coming downstairs and interrupt my AAM sessions, and it was connected to only one phone line, and you had dial-up internet. And your internet would be interrupted if someone called. One of the biggest moments of my life was in 8th grade when I got my own dedicated phone line, my own dedicated landline. Like, you could call me directly like I was a business, like I was Lexington House of Pizza. I had my own line, not a cell phone, my own direct line. The internet went through that line, and then you could call my room like it was like I was a corporation. Huge deal. You can't even imagine the jealousy that was running through my town that I, in my basement, had a dedicated phone line. And that was great going into high school because, like, you could have girls just call you up directly. Here's my direct number if you want to reach me. Here's my direct. People didn't have that direct. I'm telling you. If you wanted to call Ben, had to go through mom first. You're lucky if your friend answered first. You were lucky. Most of the time, mom picks up. Hi, can I speak with Benjamin? Hi, is Benjamin home? And you didn't know. Ben could not have been home. He could have been out and about. And you had no idea. Hi, is Ben home? Yes, wait 1 second. Not with me, though. I had my own dedicated line with an answer machine. I would come home like I was like a 53-year-old man. I'd check my voicemails. I loved that. I loved having a dedicated line. It was a big deal. And then I managed the internet. I managed the dial-up because it went through my line. So if I'm having a long convo with Mike, sorry, Lauren, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait it out until I'm done with my convo. Good times, man. Good times. And now we're coming up on Easter week. Easter was another holiday. Big fan of Easter. Big fan of Easter. It's a lot of candy. A lot of candy associated with Easter. I love an egg hunt. Who doesn't love an egg hunt? I wish we could have egg hunts throughout the year. I don't know how you did egg hunts, but we would have hollow plastic eggs that would be hidden in and outside of the home with various treats and prizes. It was some years it would be candies, exclusively candies, and then as we got a little older, we'd do cash prizes, straight up cash prizes. My mom or dad would be like, listen, we got a $20 bill in one of these eggs. And nothing got me more fired up than looking for a $20 egg. You'd think I was like Nick Cage looking for the national treasure, looking for $20 eggs. I would fire around. And it's a one-on-one competition when I was growing up because it was just me and my sister. If you had a bigger family, it's, you got more competition out there. Plus, if you have the age gaps, like you might be the youngest or the oldest, that would put you at an advantage or disadvantage when it come to finding the eggs. But I was the oldest, and I only had my little sister to deal with, so I knew I had a very good percentage. Like Easter was like my payday as a kid. I knew it was like Easter comes around, it's like Jiggy's gonna get paid. Who's gonna find those eggs? Who's gonna find them eggs? I'm gonna find the eggs. Believe you me, mahalo. And I did. I'd go nuts. I was like one step ahead of the Easter Bunny when it came to where the eggs could be. I was one step ahead. I had a whole strategy of where to find these eggs, and I did a great job, and I definitely made the most money when it came to egg collection. Now, when I was a real little kid, it's kind of hard to believe that I actually believed the story of the Easter Bunny. Doesn't it seem kind of ridiculous that you believe the story of the Easter Bunny? The story of Santa Claus has a little bit more lore to it. It was built up as a story that made a little bit more sense. Even though you're like, okay, a guy in a sleigh drops off presents, he comes down the chimney, a little bit far-fetched, but he's a human being at least, and he makes these presents in the North Pole. I've never been to the North Pole, but it could be true. Maybe there is a factory up there. How would I know? I've never been. But there was a little bit of reality sprinkled into Santa Claus, so I believed in that for too long, to be honest, up until maybe 4th grade. I mean, I was the last to get the memo that Santa wasn't real. Hashtag gullible. I mean, to this day. But the Easter Bunny, I believed in the Easter Bunny for too long as well. And the Easter Bunny, if you think of all the holidays, makes the least amount of sense. So you're telling me a big ass bunny. All right, so I decorate some eggs. I color them up. Then in the middle of the night, a big bunny drops off a basket full of treats and takes all these eggs and hides them. And I was pretty good with that. I was chewing on that for too long. I really bought into the Easter Bunny is real for a long time. That just shows you how gullible I am. I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. A bunny hops around. Well, he can hop, so maybe he can go even faster. But a big bunny comes around, hides eggs, drops off candy and treats. And the baskets looks very similar to the ones I see at CVS the month leading up to Easter. Maybe that's just where he gets them. I can't believe how long I believed in the Easter Bunny. It's too long, I think. Santa Claus has a little bit more structure to it. The Easter Bunny, I should have known early that, listen, there's no animal that's coming and hiding eggs. I mean, I've never seen any animal do anything like this before. I've never seen any animal, never mind a big Easter Bunny. Plus, it's not even connected to like he's like a saint, like Saint Nicholas. So it kind of fits into the religion a little bit. But the bunny, I don't even understand what it has to do with Easter. It has nothing to do with it. It's not like it's a religious bunny that came from the sky, or it's like a saint bunny that comes down on a chariot and he moves the eggs this way. It's just a big bunny who likes chocolate. Never understood the Easter Bunny and how people believe. But I did. I certainly did. I hook, line, and sinker on the Easter Bunny. I remember asking, and I asked the Easter Bunny, I was like, listen, if people are dropping off gifts at the house, might as well make a list. I made a list for the Easter Bunny, just like I did for Santa. Easter Bunny and Santa got a list. Leading up to Easter, I would make a list of things that I'd like. And when I was a kid, I was probably 5 or 6, I asked the Easter Bunny for a whip. I asked the Easter Bunny for a whip. Now, before you come to some conclusions on why, this was 1991, and I wanted nothing more than to be like Indiana Jones. I watched Indiana Jones movies on repeat. So I wanted from the Easter Bunny a whip to be like Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones. I wanted to be like Indiana Jones. And Easter morning, I get a note from the Easter Bunny. The Easter Bunny says, I saw your request for a whip, but I did not think that was very appropriate. I hope you will enjoy this poster of Thomas the Tank Engine instead. And in my 5-year-old brain, I'm like, what the fuck is that supposed to do? You're telling me Indiana Jones and Thomas the Tank Engine are even in the same universe? I'll take it, but I'm not happy with it. Anyway, that was my funniest Easter request, a whip. I think that's great. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up this week's episode. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you can subscribe to the channel, or if you're listening on the podcast app on Apple or Spotify, like it, share it, do whatever you have to do. We're just starting up, but I appreciate you listening, and we'll be back next week with another episode. Until then, mahalo and deuces.
Oh,